Hi. My name's Andy.
Fuck, dude.
AGB.
The man.
And we are Where's the Switch Gaming.
We have problems.
What the fuck?
We have problems. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim on the Xbox 360. And, you know, if you don't know about this game, then you're at the wrong channel because this is a gaming channel.
Yeah, and, you know, the Elder Scrolls is kind of a big deal. But, anyways, it's the fifth installment in the Elder Scrolls franchise, which is obviously this action RPG game, so you know, that's all you need to know about that. So, just, want to start?
You, in this story, you are escaped prisoner, and you discover that you're Dovahkiin and your destiny is to eliminate the world of the dragons because that's the main plot of the story, so the dragons are returning and threatening to destroy the world.
And also, during this story, you find out that there's a civil war brewing in Skyrim, and you have to deal with that.
Yeah. So it has two main plots.
Which means it has two main quests.
Yeah. But for the story, we're going to get into part of the review with this. The story, to branch off of that, the story.
The story.
Is
there any story?
It is great all the way through and through, even though I didn't play much of the Civil War part. I played enough of it to, you know, get a good feel of it, and it was fun and everything, but, you know, I can't really completely judge it on just, you know, getting like 2/3 of the way through it. But the main story, in my opinion, obviously, even though Skyrim pretty much has two, is the whole Dovahkiin story, and it is friggin' great to me through and through. It's fun, interesting, up until like the last 8th mark of the story. It kind of just like, it feels like it throws you into an over glorified boss fight, and it doesn't have a straightened up ending. It feels like it just kind of throws the end of the story at you, but up until then it's awesome.
Yeah, just but I agree mostly with what you said. The Civil War stuff, I actually did all that, and I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it could have been better, but whatever. And with the whole dragons and all that, I just felt the story could have been better. I mean, it was interesting, but I wasn't. It was good enough to keep you engaged with the game, but it wasn't anything to write home about.
All right. So next topic is gameplay, of course. To start it, the leveling system obviously is new for this game, completely revamped for the style of the game, and it is great all the way through. Except for me, in my opinion, I felt that they could have added more to add to like your attributes for your character to feel that you were actually developing this specific character in this like specific world. But you know, at the same time, it's good and bad that they did what they did because you know they did it purposely. That the way you're playing it is developing your character all at once to be the character that you're playing. You know, it's,
the character becomes.
Yeah.
As the way you level up is through the way you play.
And in the way they developed it, you know, you can't really say it's bad, but you can say that it just doesn't. You know, in my opinion, this is the way I'm saying it. You know, you can't say it's bad because that's the way they developed it. That's the way they intended it. But I felt that they could have let you get more into like attribute points and stuff like that. But other than that, it's amazing. The amount of content is unbelievable.
Just one thing about the gameplay, the combat, I felt could use some improvement. Overall, it's better. I felt it was better than it was in Oblivion, but it's still not great by any standards. The archery is amazing, but other than that, everything else is kind of bleh, just bland.
Yeah, I agree with that. I felt the swordplay, like, I could get over it, but I do agree that, you know, 3 different animations and just a few different moves that you can get for your character it is a bit of a setback, but I personally got over that. It's whatever, you know, I've been used to it. Been close for a bit now, but I do agree that it is a flaw. Doesn't affect my point of view on the game though. But the archery, I've never done archery in any sort of action RPG or anything whatsoever. like intentionally done it. I mean, if I had to do it in previous games, I would do it, but I didn't set my character to be an archer. In Skyrim, I wanted to try it just out of curiosity, and I tried it, and I fell in fucking love with it instantly. Just bam, and it sunk in. And I know you agree with that.
Yeah, oh yeah, the archery is top notch. It's great.
Yeah. The werewolf thing that they did, you can tell that we are gamers. Someone has a.
Anyways, the werewolves, you can turn into a werewolf now, and it's actually really fun, and
it works well. It makes you feel like a complete badass. When you turn into werewolf, everything dies.
Yep, pretty much that sums it up.
The dragon fights were great. That it was completely dynamic. I felt that it was the most epic thing in the world when a dragon would enter randomly and just be random dragon every time, and it would be random what it did and where it would show up, and it was just great how it would come down and you get to fight it face to face, and you get loot off of it and you get souls from it so you can develop your Dovahkiin skills.
Yeah, it was top. It's really cool, and the dragons, I have to agree, were pretty epic. The dragon fights.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it fits really well with the game world, which is phenomenal. The overlay of just the land itself, I think, was incredible. I felt it was far superior than the way the game world was in Oblivion.
Yeah, the amount of content, like the items, everything that you can find in the game, it blew us away. The amount of stuff that you can get in it, the loot. But I felt, and he agreed with me earlier on this, is that the design for some of the items, they could have been a little varied.
It was a little boring after a while.
Yeah, I know they have different stats and everything. There is a lot of different designs, but there's just small different takes on, like, say, a dagger. You'll have a certain type of dagger, and they'll just have small differences in them. And I felt that they could have improved a little more on that. Just had more looks on different items. But now that we've pretty much covered everything in gameplay, let's go into design.
Design, we already brought up how the game world looks amazing. It's top notch.
Unbelievable.
I feel it's superior to.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best things that is about Skyrim. Period. And every Elder Scrolls game, everything Bethesda ever does.
They do incredible jobs with their game worlds. Graphics, they're not the greatest graphics this generation, but they're pretty impressive, especially considering it's such a big open world game. I mean, the facial animations could use a lot of work.
I don't think a lot. In my opinion, it wasn't a lot.
They kind of just felt like they were just.
There was only a few different expressions, but in my opinion, it didn't hinder the game so much.
Yeah, it wasn't that much of an issue, but it just one of those things is an annoyance. Going back to the design, just there's another issue I have. It's just glitches and bugs with the game. It's just they can get in the way of me enjoying the game sometimes. Getting glitched into a mountain, water textures disappearing.
And I see where that's an issue for you, but I would have liked to state, before we did this video, I wanted to state that, and in every Bethesda game, I understand that there's a lot of glitches and bugs, and I know that there are issues, and I know that they should be issues, but for me, I just let them go, and it's whatever, it doesn't destroy the game for me. But some of them, unfortunately, they can destroy the game. It's never happened to me personally, but if it did happen to me, I'd be upset. But I don't want it to completely destroy a game's
Yeah, I'm not saying it's it just ruins the game, but it can take me out of the game sometimes.
All right, and when the glitches happen to me, most of them were funny, but the ones that weren't funny, they didn't bother me whatsoever. I let them go. But that aside, the new design for the characters and everything in this engine was just crazy. The new art design for the characters and the world worked so well with this engine, makes everything come to life, and the direction they took for the different races, the new direction was just unbelievable.
The races definitely look very distinct now, and I mean they always did, but now there's so much more detail to them and stuff.
Yeah, for example, I always hated the Argonians, absolutely hated them, and this time around when I started up Skyrim, I looked at the design of the Argonian, I'm like, I'm picking this, I don't even care. I thought it was great.
I mean, it's to stick with the design, we just move to the sound design and the soundtrack. The soundtrack, the score was great. I mean, it's nothing like I didn't think it was oh my god fantastic, but it was solid. I thought it fit well with the tone of the game, and just I thought it was great. Overall, like sound design, like sound effects and all that, everything I thought worked really well. They did a really good job with the sounds, and like when you're out in the open, like you can hear things and like the water and like the leaves and all that. Bethesda did a top-notch job with that.
But for me, for the score, the soundtrack, I wasn't like I felt the score. I loved it. I thought it was great for Skyrim. It wasn't as memorable to me as Oblivion's was. Like I said earlier when we were talking about it, that it's not as memorable as an Elder Scrolls game or a Zelda game, where you just, when you hear it or you think about it or you're playing it, it makes you feel the game and at any point in time, and you just it's so spiritual for me personally. I've gone on my way to try to buy the Elder Scrolls Oblivion score and before, and I obviously unfortunately couldn't come across it, but other than that, it wasn't bad, and like he said, the sound effects were great. It was unbelievable what they did with all the sounds in the dungeons, the animals, the voice acting, everything, and like the voice acting was great. It was excellent for a lot of the characters, but like most Bethesda games, you come across characters that repeated the voice actors.
They start repeating the same voice actors.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of distracting, to say the least.
We were literally just talking about it before this video, is that like we found on like every child, they only repeat like 3 different voice actors, and it's without 3 pretty much. Yeah. I mean, we obviously have to look it up, but you can tell it's just three different voice actors for every child.
It's the same.
And it gets a little annoying, and it's the previous voice actors from Fallout 3 and Oblivion. I noticed the little boys in Fallout 3, most of their voices were exactly the same. I think it was 2 voice actors, and every single time you come across one, it's the same voice actor. And this one, the boys were the same kids. Yeah, other than that, everything else was great for design. In my personal opinion, with all the little issues aside, I can put the little issues like that to the side for me. That's just my personal opinion. So I gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. But for him,
I just, a 10 out of 10 for me means it's a perfect game, and Skyrim is not perfect by any means. I mean, it's a tremendous game. It's definitely worth checking out. Just if you're watching this video, just do yourself a favor after you finish watching it, and just go grab yourself a copy, because it's totally worth it.
Even if you just played it, I mean, I honestly, if I were to meet you and you say that you haven't even had any interest in playing it or heard of it, I'd consider it blasphemous, honestly. Especially if you say you're a gamer. But it really wouldn't surprise me if you've already played it. But if you played a little bit of it, please, especially Black Friday's coming up, just go out and grab it.
Go grab yourself a copy. It's worth it.
Especially if you need something to play, because this game will take you and not let go.
Overall, I would have to give it, my overall score would have to be a 9.5. Just because, those little issues I have with the game overall, they start stacking up, and it's just, it ends up taking away from the game. So in the long run.
But yeah, my name is Andy.
I'm Hank.
And we are Where's the Switch Gaming. At the end of this, subscribe to our channel, give it a like. If you liked it, leave us a comment, some love.
Tell your friends.
And check us out on Facebook at Where's the Switch Gaming, obviously on Facebook. Give us a like on the page if you happen to come by it. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay classy.
Have a good one.
San Diego.
San Diego.
Someone go. That's gonna happen.
No other movements.
We'll edit this. We will edit this.
Don't mind my job, penis. It's stuck between y'all legs.
That was like 15 minutes, right?
We're still going.
What's that?